We interrupt this introduction to welcome in our midst Dr. Jack Ridley. Playing speed all the way here. Several unannounced visitors from beyond Phelps County, which is really a treat. Okay, we're starting now.
This will be the images right here. I'll put the blinds down. We'll go to YouTube and get it.
This reminds me of the film series where there was always some kind of mechanical screw-up, and when we were dealing in the late silent age with 16mm Bell and Howl. Howl is spelled H-O-W-L. If something could go wrong with it, it did. One time, take-up reel quit, and I ran back there and by hand wound it up on the hand-wound take-up reel to save. It was Persona, Ingmar Bergman's wonderful film. That was one. It jammed and burnt the film once. I'm stalling here.
There we go. Doing an excellent job.
Meanwhile, anybody else showing up?
There we go. No, we can't. Sorry.
Sorry guys, it's not me. The internet is too slow.
This is called The Heist, or Einstein's Caper. It's short, about 2.5 minutes, and was made in conjunction with an exhibition at Leach Theater. Uh-oh, that's Snapper. Don't show that one.
No. I'm so sorry. I don't know why it won't.
There we go.
Bringing back this book, it was kind of a slow read. Problem. This book is 4 years. I'm trying, it's really dull. $100 per year for every year. So get how much is that then? So it's 100 times 4, which is 400. So get out your check. Here, take a 20. No. Come back.
So that was shown before the program, and when the lights came up, there was Einstein on the stage. It's the next sequence, live.
So, now that we've had that short interlude and
Ashley's going to work on getting the volume up for the next two movies, which it'll be a while, so you might hear some squawks from this corner.
As long as they're loud.
Yeah. My name is Debra Griffith, and I'm the University Archivist. Welcome, everybody. This is a great turnout. This is the third of our 4 events for Archives Month. Our theme this year is Lights, Camera, ROLLA, and we take a look at how ROLLA and Missouri have interacted with Hollywood in many exciting different ways, film in general. So next Tuesday at 5 o'clock at the ROLLA Public Library, we will be showing, we can finally say the name, The Wizard of Oz. Right before the movie, I'll be doing a short 15-minute talk about Gerald Rackett, who went to school here. He graduated in 1920 and went on to become the Technical Vice President of Technicolor, the Technical Vice President of Columbia Pictures, and his work on the 3-strip filming process actually made movies like Wizard of Oz possible. So look forward to that. It's going to be great. We're going to have candy and possibly popcorn. It's going to be really fun. But tonight we have, give his whole title, Curators Teaching Professor Emeritus of Art History and Film, Dr. James Bogan, Jr. This presentation tonight is going to be on Zoom, and we are also doing a Facebook Live. So if you have friends who didn't get a chance to come tonight, they'll be able to go to the Archives Facebook page, and it's going to be up in perpetuity, or until Facebook decides to change their model. So this evening is going to be a little different from what we usually do. This is more of a question and answer thing. We will have some handouts later. Per Jim, you don't get them now.
Anybody knows, don't give out a handout before class, because I'll be reading it during, and you might miss a frame of the action, which would be sad.
Yeah. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the film series. Then we're going to watch one of the films, the Chalk Up Another, and I understand somebody here worked on it.
To be revealed.
Yes, to be revealed.
After the credits.
And then we're going to talk about Jim's film career as a director, and then we'll show another short film of his. So you want him to keep questions till the end, right?
Well, if you're moved to ask a question, go ahead.
Okay.
But I want to point out for the heist that we just saw, the Einstein paper, we have with us the thief, Louis Smart, trying to stay up late. Oh, and I was the professor. And who was the librarian?
Tracy Primage. She is not at the library anymore.
Oh.
She's now Bella.
Aha.
Okay, so starting it out, you say you first came to the university here in 1969, back when it was still
MSM. The shadow of MSM was
Yeah.
still across UMR in 1969.
So you started in 69, but you didn't start the film series until 75. So how did you get the idea to start a film series on campus?
Well, it came from Lawrence, Kansas, University of Kansas. Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, KU, which had a terrific film society. 16 millimeter, small auditorium, great movies, mainly French. Got to ROLLA, and the film situation, there were 2 theaters, the Uptown and the... Exactly so. I don't know that they were rats, they were large mice. And basically, and this is in the days before VCRs, it's an ancient history. VCRs come in late middle 70s. And if you wanted to see a film, you're gonna have to figure out some way to get them. So I made a deal with continuing education, not the English department, which was, thought films were too modern or something. And with continuing education, we started in spring of '76 or thereabouts, somewhere in there. Started a film program Thursday nights. For a good 10 or 15 years, it was on Thursday nights, which put it closer to the weekend, which made it actually, as far as the students were concerned, better to go to a film and then go out and get smashed. And it was not Tuesday night, it was Thursday. And it caught on. The venue was the Mechanical Engineering Auditorium, which had a sound system that makes ours look like it was done by Mr. Sony himself. It was horrible,
that
like a
was
tin
so
can in the ceiling.
Was that still the old mechanical?
Well, yeah, this is
Okay.
old Mechanical Engineering Auditorium. And when we couldn't get that, we were, the music rehearsal room was used. It was something of a itinerant production, in which the film series would never have happened without the aid of some fabulous student assistants who learned how to run projectors. Is there somebody who projected a film here? We're missing Carl, we're missing David, we're missing Gerald, we're missing Ann. It goes on and on. They did a lot of the brute lifting. So we'd show the film and had a class, Art 85, afterwards. And then that was followed by an informal discussion at Brewster's or the Mine Shaft, even on occasion. And after 20 years of doing it in the auditorium, Wendell Ogroski said, "I got a deal for you." And I said, "Well, yeah." And I'd actually been thinking about cutting, saying, "Okay, that's enough. We aren't getting big audiences." And he said, "Why don't you take the film series into Leach Theater?" And all of a sudden, here's a good projector, nice seats, rake seating, music, good sound system, and for the rest of his life, it was grounded in Leach Theater, which was great. And in the process, programmed roughly 1,000 films, of which there was only one dog, Snowpiercer. I looked over the list, and the list will be available afterwards up here in case you want to, if you need a list of good movies. And I was just telling Debbie, I looked at it yesterday. I thought out of the 1,000 films on here, 24 were dogs. Not a bad average. I know other people would have found more dogs than I found, but it was one film a week was about what traffic would bear. We tried running 2 films a week and got half as many people. Too complicated, I guess. So I had a good 40-year run, and during which time it went from, if you wanted to watch a film, you had 16 millimeter copies to watch, to VCRs, which democratized it pretty much, to digital, DVDs, which we still love, which is another format, and now it's digital. And originally, getting good films to ROLLA was the idea. Now it is being democratized. Everybody's their own curator. And if you make yourself watch some of the things you really wouldn't want to watch anyway, keep yourself honest. We had several 4-hour films on those chairs in the ME Auditorium. That was probably why I'm limping today. But the audiences were good, and there's nothing better in terms of film watching to be in a good audience that's picking up the vibe, that amplifies it, and then having a good place to go afterwards to argue about what one thing and another meant or didn't mean. And it takes more than one person to see a film, too. There's full screen. There's stuff going on, and it helps to have a team of people, which was my classes. Okay, what did we as a group see? And different people saw different things depending on where they were sitting in the audience. That do it?
As a series, could people buy a ticket for the entire semester?
$20.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it lived for the first 10 years, it lived off the backs of the students. That's what the income was. And then when we moved to Leach, I think I held out for it would be free, and somebody in the university paid for it.
Oh, nice.
So
Was the community able to come in as well?
the community was able to come in as well. Some of them chose to leave. I left one of them myself. Pink flamingos, I couldn't take it.
Oh.
That was a while back. And I always thought that was good when somebody left. It was hitting somebody somewhere they didn't want to get hit, and that was either out of good conscience they didn't want any part of it, or there's some sort of fear that involved. Brings it up, as good films will do.
So how did you go about choosing the movies that you're going to show? Because there's quite
You mean the committee to choose films?
there's quite a wide variety of things on your list.
It's
You cover a lot of genres.
a lot of genres. It was eclectic, and I did the eclectic pretty much. Although I asked people their suggestions, I put them in an envelope, I looked through it, then I would go into the ordering catalogs. There'd be like, let's say $3,000 to get 16 films, something like that. And I got into some real arm wrestling with the distributors. You know, well, that's too much out here. We can't afford that. So I was normally getting about as big a break off as you could. It was good training for buying used cars. And you know, if somebody put an envelope with a $100 bill in it with the name of a film, I gave it serious consideration. Chicago training. Hello. Are you with the media?
Pictures, sorry.
No, great. Don't forget to get them.
Just ignore me.
We have our paparazzi from
Meanwhile,
the library.
So I really have seen plenty of film series that people spend way too much time arguing amongst themselves what to choose. So I did it.
Well, and I noticed you showed a number of silent films. What did the student population take to that?
More than you would think, although some of the adults still don't like it.
How could you not like the general?
That's what I say. And the general is probably, I have repeated several films over the 20 years, and probably the one that was shown the most was the general, because I bought a print of it for $20 way back when. What really moved that along though is we had piano players and a jazz combo once, so that there is no such thing as a silent film. It was always, almost always a piano player or full orchestras or full orchestrations to go with Charlie Chaplin's films, for which he got an Oscar. So after a while, you forget that it's silent, unless you don't, and then you're. But the Chaplin and the Keaton and the Harold Lloyd are still as good today as they were 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago. Loose questions, loose cannons.
I guess we can go on. Okay. Now I know a number of the performances. You list some here. You had other people involved as well with the showing of the film. You had directors come to introduce their films.
We had a pretty good tradition of that, of bringing in a film director each semester to show his films. Peter Watkins, what the heck was the name of the film? Anyway, an English director came. Ken Burns came, and when Ken Burns came, it was the day before he got famous. I was the last guy to pay Ken Burns $500 for an evening. The next week it went up to $10,000, and he was quite congenial, and he had his Benton documentary to show at that time. I'm trying to Les Blank, one of the greatest documentarians of the 20th century, American. He was here several times. He liked ROLLA. He has an eye for the esoteric, and he needed the money to edit his films, and he was out on the road talking in far-off, exotic places like ROLLA. And actually, I caught the bug standing next to Les while he was screening Burden of Dreams, which is the greatest film ever made about making a film. Best documentary ever. I would like to see a better one, but I don't think it's there yet. It goes along with it, and it works because it's about Werner Herzog, who's a wild man, and he gets a good portrait of Werner Herzog and the Upper Amazon.
Well, and now you continue to do other work with Les, right? You produced a book together?
I co-edited. I was driving him to Lawrence from here, and somewhere around Sedalia, I said to him, "How come you don't do a?" This isn't before digital. How come you don't do a book on the Burden of Dreams? And by the time we got to Lenexa, he said, "You know, that's a good idea." He was kind of slow in response, but he thought things over before he spoke, and we ran that one through. That bleeds over to the next segment. Is how I got to make films had to do with driving Les Blank to Lawrence, and we want to pick up for Chalk Up Another, I think.
Well, before we get to Chalk Up Another,
you have to be patient.
everybody always says, "Oh, you gotta get Jim to talk about Bogantics." So, I'm asking you, talk about Bogantics. Might be hard to describe for some folks.
I really should have, if we could have a fire drill, if somebody could throw the switch on the fire drill, that would be irresponsible, but it would almost, the one that was done almost every semester. You remember when cell phones were kind of rare, and it was really bad form to answer them or have them ring in public? I mean, you still get, but so just after I would say that, to shut your cell phones down, if that goes off, you'll be sorry. And then I had a shill in the audience where it would go off right then. The ushers were, the guys sitting over there, they ran and got him and manhandled him. We couldn't do this anymore, I don't think. Manhandled the guy out to the aisle. I confiscated the phone, switched it with another one, drug him down to the stage. The ushers dragged him down to the stage, put the phone on a wood block, and with a sledgehammer, smashed it. Much to everybody's joy in that era. I mean, now I'd have to wear out the sledgehammer. So that was done with a sledgehammer, it was done with an axe, it was done with a carafe of liquid nitrogen, dropped it in the liquid nitrogen, popped it out, the liquid nitrogen spilled, which causes no harm, but I didn't know, I ran the other way. I don't know what happened to the people in the front row, but it froze it, and I hit it with the sledgehammer and it broke. A piece of shrapnel got me in the ankle. I mean, it was actually bloody. I didn't carry on. Maybe it's why I limped today. Anyway.
You bleed for your art.
One cut down on the sledgehammering after that. It was good, fine enough for one of the staff to take the bullet, but if a civilian had gotten one across the forehead,
Yeah, probably not.
I would have had Shelley take care of it. Shelley would have paid them off. No, that was a regular. John Malkovich may have been there one night. There was a guy in a trench coat and a fedora hat, something of a scrubby beard. Might have been John Malkovich. We got that rumor going. John Malkovich showed up at the film series.
Well, you said John Waters came.
The great John Waters, the Student Union Board brought in John Waters. It was about the time of Hairspray, I think.
Okay.
And I left the meeting early. That was it. I left the meeting early to attend that screening, and I was totally impressed. They probably they would have paid him, and they paid him, and he showed his film. And afterwards, he waited until the last student was out, and he went on 15, 20 minutes talking to them about the movie they wanted to make. I was really impressed. He didn't just collect his check and take a powder. He was interested in what people were doing. So,
Cool.
quite the gentleman.
Yeah.
Something of a surprise.
Well, and now there was also another sort of tradition before the films would show. No, that's going to be what we see in Chalk Up Another,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Got that ready? Let's
Oh,
see what
I-
happens this time.
No, I gotta set it up.
Okay.
This is still part of what happened with the old film series.
Always the director.
A couple of years in, maybe, showed up one night, and there on the chalkboard was a mural, 6x8 panel of the blackboard, drawn in chalk of the movie, which was the first movie. Does anybody know what the first movie was, Ellen? Something Wild. Something Wild, the great film by
Some guy.
Jonathan Demme. And it was a total mystery. This just appeared. Next week, same thing happened. Disappeared. And I asked around. Nobody had seen anybody doing it. Well, probably a week or a few weeks later, I caught somebody. Ellen Pearson, film streamer. Please rise, Ellen. Before and after. It was the stealth action was so great. And this went on. How many did you do, you suppose?
It went on for years.
Yeah, I'd say 400.
We did have to change media because the chalk we had started with was too, it hurt the black.
Oh, that's right. There were complaints from the math department about erasing your board, and they were a little bit oily. But the students loved it. The mechanical engineering students doing calculus the next morning liked it plenty. So eventually, we took the really good slides and made this montage-like film called Chalk Up Another, which would also give you an idea of the types of films that were shown. There.
There.
Okay. Yeah. It takes it a minute. Everybody has a little bit of faith.
Eric Copeland, Robert Gashin, student assistants.
So how long did it take to make
Ellen,
those
please stand.
drawings?
One more time. And your partner, Phil Streamer, we hope is watching from above.
It varied considerably. The more intricate ones, obviously. We didn't have paper stencils for all of them. Sometimes we went in and just made it up because we knew the movies, and Philip would research the plot lines. We'd have some idea. So it varied. We had roughly an hour by the time we ate dinner between then and the movie started.
Wow. I love the one for the general. That is great.
Oh, good.
Cost a lot of chalk. One of the contretemps, making films is, boy, it comes with its own challenges. But the music you should have been hearing was Clark Terry doing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, a really cool version. And I wrote for permission from Clark Terry, and I got back a very nice letter, handwritten. Sure, you can use it. Well, that's part of it. That's the performer. Who owns the rights to Somewhere Over the Rainbow? Ted Turner, unless he's passed them on to somebody else. And Ted Turner's fifth secretary thought it would be unwise. And consequently, there's canned music on that. It's really pretty with the original music, but I'd rather finish out my days in the Ozark Hills than San Quentin. He's got a lot of lawyers.
Well, and that kind of leads us into your filmmaking career. Oh, we got as much time as you need.
Okay.
Oh, we might be here a long time.
No, we won't.
So,
Tell me when there's 20 minutes left.
well, we are at 5:34, but we can go to 6:30 if you like.
No.
Okay.
People have dinner.
Okay.
I have dinner.
That's why we've got cookies and cider. So,
I like to say, I taught writing for 10 years and I learned how to write. Somebody learned how to write, it was me. I taught art appreciation for 10 years and more. And I kind of got to be a sculptural art, landscaper artist, landscaping artist. And then that leaves film, and that which I also taught for 10 years and started making films. Truly a case of fools rush in where angels fear to tread. But it was so much fun, except when it wasn't, like getting your soundtrack all taken care of and then finding out you can't use it, or somebody lost something in the lab, or the money isn't there, and all that sort of stuff. But it sure is fun working with people to make movies. And it was always a collaborative effort. Somewhere along 1985, I got a Fulbright to teach at the Federal University of Pará at the mouth of the Amazon in Brazil. And included, and I had been down there, I knew I had the lay of the land, fell in with some film people when I was there. They had a fine flatbed editing a Steen, not Mary Steenburgen. It starts with Steen anyway, a German-made editing flat, moviola type thing. And along with the Fulbright came $1,000 book allowance, which I turned into film stock, and showed up with 12 cans of 100 feet, 1 hour and 10 minutes about film to shoot. And when I had been down there before, I came back with a slideshow of Amazon t-shirts. And so I got to shoot film with my students and a couple of real professionals, Diogenes Leal, my cinematographer and good pal. And we wandered the streets of Belém, a city of 1.5 million people, 2 degrees south of the equator. Hot, hot, hot. Muddy, muddy, muddy. Friendly, friendly, friendly. That's went to the wrong block. And we shot 3 people in their t-shirts. I came back with an hour and 10 minutes, or 110 minutes. I came back with 110 minutes shot stock, and where did I find the editing board? Up in Columbia, and edited on film, which meant cutting, doing this, getting blisters on your fingers, and other slices. And that was, and it turned into a pretty cool film, t-shirt cantata, 10 minutes long. And after that, we moved on to the Thomas Hart Benton film, which is a half hour and highly professional, with the input of Frank Phillip from University Central Shops. And kept, one thing led to another after that. So it was the laundered book allowance that, and later on, shooting a film about boats in the Amazon, I got funding for it, various places, and a trial was going through customs in Brasilia, and the attendant said, well, we have to open up those cans. This was 7 or 8 cans of exposed film sealed down tight, and we have to check it for drugs. And I said, in Portuguese, slightly cleaned up a bit, buddy, if you open that can up, you're going to be looking for a job in Paraguay. I don't pull that voice out often, but he shoved us on through. But that would have been that. A second of light gone. So films that I shot were in Missouri and in the Amazon, and in Belgium, and in Ireland. Now that I'm thinking of it, short ones. And being an English major is a good background for making films. You got to be able to write, you got to be able to edit, you got to be able to prune, you got to be able to rewrite, reshoot, redo, till you can't stand it anymore. Then do it a couple more times just to make sure. Every frame counts. Every 1/24th of a second counts when you're working with something good anyway. And in doing it by hand, I mean, now you hit a button. It's like typing. When you were doing it, you would cut three frames. I want to knock off 1/8 of a second. Is that 1/8 of a second? 3. Close enough. And you could actually, the viewer senses it without knowing it. You, if you know where you're going, that 1/3 of a second, you can tell. You can tell the difference. It's a lot like sewing, too, cutting together. Now it's a lot like typing. But I went to digital, too.
Would you say that then the editing was the most challenging part of the process for you?
That's a good question. In its way, it was the most fun. Well, then again, shooting in the jungle to get the crocodiles to eat up your toy boat, that was fun. The best boy, Speedo, I tasked him with getting the boat out of the crocodile pit, which he did. It wasn't really that dangerous. He'll never forget it. He'll never forget it. He was the nephew of the cinematographer, so the uncle. Does that make him uncle? Yeah. He made him do it. But it worked. So there's no harm done. I hasten to add, nobody was injured seriously in any of my film productions.
Very good.
Yeah. And I quit while I was ahead.
When I was an undergrad, I spent 3 years editing audio tapes,
Ooh.
so I know what it's like with that splice block. Like, oh,
Yeah.
somebody coughed.
Yeah. Well, for the Benton film, we cleaned up. There was an 18-minute interview with Thomas Hart Benton, loaded with repetitions and backing up. We cleaned it up totally. It took weeks, and it came out with some really good narration that nobody else had. That was fun. And yeah, each part had its own glories. And usually, when shooting on the street or on the rivers, afterwards you retired to the nearest corner bar and drank a lot of beer, and discussed the movie, of course. So that was time on the clock.
all the movies you made, are there any that you still feel like you should go back in and do some more editing?
Nope, no.
Once it was done, it was done.
No, I lied. In writing,
Mhm.
when I go back, there's usually something that I'd want to change. Hey, Tom, speaking of projectionists, Tom, what was your favorite thing about being a projectionist?
I got into the movie for free.
Good answer.
And he tangled with Peter Watkins, the hyper director from England.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to bring that up.
Well, that was my fault.
He was something of a perfectionist in ROLLA, in the mechanical engineering auditorium. Yeah, sure. I'd go back and take it out another third of a second here, or maybe put a third of a second back. I can think of a shot that I wished I'd carried out. But
Yeah.
mainly it was pretty thoroughly edited. They all were.
Well, and the two of you, Naked Bronze with John Bradbury.
Featuring John Bradbury.
Yep. The late, great John Bradbury.
How long of a process was that?
It's a long one.
I remember telling him,
Years.
I told him, now Lou, this could take a couple of years. I mean, to get the whole process for pouring bronze, creating the molds and all that, finishing it off. Yeah, Lou, it could take a couple of years. Took 7.
So,
7 years.
I know it was.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like it took 7 years. It doesn't act that way at all. But I didn't know there were so many steps. I had been on part of the pours, which was very exciting. It's in the film Naked Bronze, which is available. How are these things
In this
available?
library.
In
The
this
ROLLA
library.
Public Library too. That's how I found out Louis was an artist. I worked at the library, and one day I see this movie called Naked Bronze, and I pull it out, and there's Louis standing there. I'm like, Louis comes to the library all the time.
Yeah, the library here, and you can get a library card, even if you're not a university community member, you can get a library card for our library. We have got a lot of them in our collection. They're on YouTube, in 2 different YouTube channels.
Good.
Yours and Continuing Eds.
Good for them.
Yeah, so, yeah, there's a lot of places.
It's a half an hour long, and it is beautiful. Well, Louis did Einstein.
Yeah.
And other, the Deer Dancer is in Havener, and others around the campus.
Was that the only movie besides the Einstein caper that the two of you made together?
I think so.
I can't believe I didn't hit you up for something.
Man versus tree.
Oh, well, that's an excellent segue.
I think I made 10 or 12 individual pieces, and pretty much my swan song, that's what we're going to see next, is 15 minutes long, called Man versus Tree, and it's pretty much self-explanatory. If the sound, can we make another crack at getting the sound further up? I might indulge in some
Are
voiceover
you
narration
this
if
one?
need be. It's pretty visual.
Yeah.
You could write the dialogue yourself pretty much.
The
It does
frustration
open
oozes out of the screen.
with a 1 minute long prelude that is an animation about the bad monk. The bad monk is a powerful figure in Chinese mythology and popular to this day, and I glommed onto the bad monk quite some time ago. When I went to China, I led with the bad stories about the bad monk, and they all had them. I mean, it's like, oh geez, Johnny Appleseed stories or something that we used to tell. And I fell in with the animation department at the Federal University of Shijiazhuang, an hour or 2 north or south of Beijing. I never did figure out which, on the edge of the desert. And I had a really good pal there who was a Blake fiend. I went and talked about William Blake, which is another which is another afternoon. Anyway, the head of the animation department was taken by Man vs. Tree. It speaks to people of all educational levels, especially lower. And we made a deal, and for a rock bottom price, he did an animation of the Bad Monk fitted to the story of Man vs. Tree. So I think that's about enough.
Okay. I apologize for the sound level, but it's about as good as it's gonna get.
Move up closer, right?
Sure. Roll on in.
Roll on in and roll them. That's the Bad Monk.
About 1,000 years ago, during the Song Dynasty, Mu Shan earned his nickname of the Bad Monk. He killed an evil butcher with 3 punches, blam, blam, blam. Then laid low, disguised as a monk, a blaspheming, boozing womanizer of a monk. He joined up with a band of hooligans and drank from big bowls, ate enormous chunks of meat, and shared out stolen gold. His capacity for anger was legendary. Eventually, Hu Chen sobered up and decided to become a real monk. He spent the rest of his life at the Temple of Feng Shui and attained enlightenment one night when he heard time rippling from the shores of the Jianghu River. Well, the object here is to set on fire a 70-foot tall, dead on the hoof, probably oak tree that's been lurking over Moonshine Hollow for many a year, but it's doomed and it's going to fall. But I'd rather it fell on my schedule than its. So, a few gallons of diesel, blowtorch, we're going to see what happens. I should also add that the safety officer is playing his guitar at home and didn't make it across the glacial drifts. And we are doing this without the benefit of Greg Story, safety officer. 5 minutes still burning. We're going to face the tree. There are holes drilled in the side here by affiliated peckerwood and lyle. 3 minutes till ignition. The theory is, whoa, it's gonna burn. That's the theory. good start here, and we look forward to the eventual, I'm getting out of here. Taking this on, the diesel didn't work, the chainsaw didn't work. Perhaps it will be the shotgun of your father. There it is. Then we'll take it out. At your discretion. Having been frustrated by the stamina of this tree, we will now ask Mr. Goss to take out some items with his father's son. Right? At your discretion. All right! Let's try this. Who do you want from the top of the tree? I am. Okay. We'll go that way, though. There we go. There we go. There we go. What if I just pull them? We're running that way. What if I just pull? It is swaying. Yo, ladies! Yo, ladies! Can you do it a little bit more from this angle? Here, Fred, would you hold this? Yeah. And you feel free to hold on to it. Hide behind that tree, Fred. You can hide behind it. I think you get that too. Get this tree. Look at it go. It's really rocking. Something fell. Yeah, but it's going to do it. Oh, you think it's going to do it? Oh, it's still going. I want to do this a few more times? Yeah. Tell you what, you count it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Well, I'm going to leave off. When I hear a crack, I'm going to get off of the machine. Ready? Yeah.
feeling way more than it was even 5 minutes ago.
It's gonna go. Huh, it's going. I ain't ready to get it. We heard
That's
a
the
little
camera
crack
man,
there, didn't
Ryan
we?
Wiley.
Yeah?
Yeah, a couple of cracks, a short sequence of them.
Don't do that.
Yeah. So to recap, the methods used to bring down that ancient dead tree lurking above the sky, ready to fall on our heads. We used the diesel suffuse method, then the pour-on diesel method, then the chainsaw, then the shotgun and the shotgun, the rope pull, the vehicle, the device, and finally the fire drill. As we like to say, nothing to it.
Always pay attention to the credits. There's secret jokes in the credits. Fred, rise, Fred, rise. I'm going to say something about Ryan here. Fabulous music. Shelley?
Shelley had to leave.
Somewhere in there I say, let's see what happens. And I guess that counts for my an aesthetic of making documentaries. let's see what happens. It was created in the making of. And Brian Wiley, who's listed there, he was an excellent filmmaker, cinematographer, cameraman. He was passing through town and they had 24 hours. And I said, well, let's try this. And it was supposed to burn and fall, maybe sitting on the hillside drinking a beer waiting for it to happen. Not how it worked out at all. It was, well, it went from early afternoon till some unknown time at night. And it's a real documentary, nothing, no CG effects in there.
How long did it burn?
The stunts. I did dismember the body. Oh. So
Get
it was
rid of the evidence.
How much diesel did it take?
3 gallons.
3 gallons.
Yeah, and we know we did not use gasoline.
Yeah.
Let the record show no gasoline was used on this project. It's easier to light.
Well, it's definitely a classic.
I'm glad to get out without a seriously scraped limb or two. It was really a riot. We actually did come up with something rather than nothing. Let's see that again. A tree falling. You can see that again and again. And it always feels good. That's a kind of you don't say that in films. Let's see that again. That's breaking a rule. And it was fun. It's fun to watch. I didn't see anything. There was one standing around. Could have been a few seconds shorter. Otherwise, I really am touched to see all. The handouts. You are entitled to your own copy of the 1,000 films shown in ROLLA and a rare document called Bogantics, which
I think there's only like
has
10
more of
copies
the
of each.
carryings on that was done.
Does anybody want one?
If you don't want your own copy to carry around, you can scan the QR code. It is on the web guide that we devised for this Archives Month. Okay. And when you get to that first page, there's going to be a link to YouTube to all the films. There's also links to both of those documents. Plus all the other events that we're having, so go wild. Click on it a bunch of times so I get a really good rating.
Well, I appreciate the technical support and the questions that I forget to ask myself. We'll take one last question. Yes, Louis.
Red Green would be proud of.
Boy, that is praise from Caesar is praise indeed. Anybody not know Red Green?
Oh,
Well, Jack, he's right up your alley. Red Green, he's your man. You like Man vs. Tree, you love Red Green.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you everybody for coming. Please stay and enjoy cookies and cider and, socializing amongst yourselves. And I hope to see at least some of you at the public library next Tuesday, 5 o'clock.